January 6, 2014. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspapers posted on public bulletin boards and the Township website.
At this time, I'll ask everyone to please have a seat and turn off their cell phones. Can I have the roll call, please?
Councilman Moore.
Here.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Here.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Here.
Councilman Mumalo.
Here.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Here.
Vice President Fosman.
Here.
President Leidecker.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can everyone please stand for the salute to the flag and our moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Can I please have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of April 15th and May 6th? Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman DeYoung, seconded by Council Vice President Bosman. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Mumalo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
I abstain. I was in the lovely Aruba
From which one?
for the May 6th.
But you will
Approve
approve
the
the
April 15th, yes.
Thank you.
Vice President Fosman.
Yes.
President Leidecker.
Yes.
Thank you.
And at this time, we have a presentation that will be given by Mayor Ducey for Ms. Caroline Newman.
Carolyn, come on up. Back earlier this year in January, we announced a competition here in Brick, and it was a township-wide competition that would then go on to statewide competition through the New Jersey League of Municipalities. And it's the 20th annual scholarship competition that the New Jersey League of Municipalities has had here in the state. And it was very difficult. It was a state-level competition where they picked we picked it locally. There was a group of us that got together. Actually, I wasn't part of it, but a group of independent people who read all the different essays that were submitted, and about I'm not sure. We had a large amount to read through, and the committee here chose Caroline Newman to be the winner. So I want to give you a certificate of commendation, and it's awarded to you on June 10, 2014, in recognition of your being named Brick Township's finalist in the New Jersey League of Municipalities Lewis Bay Future Municipal Leader Scholarship Competition. And then Caroline went on. Obviously, if you win the Brick Township, you go on to the state competition, and she ended up being a state finalist, which is a very large accomplishment. There were 40 different towns or cities that submitted their winners from each of their towns. And there was a winner, and then there was a group of finalists, and Caroline was lucky enough to be one of the groups of finalists. So the League of Municipalities did send me down a certification of participation for your interest and civic contributions to the community, as evidenced by your participation in the Lewis Bay Second Future Municipal Leader Scholarship Competition. And Caroline is the daughter of one of our municipal employees, Dan Newman, and it's great to see the next generation of Newmans coming through the township hallways here. So congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you for writing such a beautiful essay about our township. I was on the committee. It was very nice. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and it will be considered separately. Council, are there any items you'd wish to be removed? Okay, seeing none. Resolution 1, authorize receipt of bids Operation of Ocean Beach 3 concession stand. As you all know, there's a little snack stand out there. It is run by contract, and this is what it's for. The current contract is a 6-year contract ending on September 14th, 2014. This contract will be a 5-year contract, whereas previously it was a 6-year contract. The previous award was for $34,333 per year for a total of $205,998. I do have one question for our business administrator. I apologize, we are on 4-1. And the length of the contract went from 6 years to 5 years. The 5 years does seem like a long time to me. Is there a reason why we give out the concession stand at Brick Beach 3 for 5 years instead of like a 2 or 3 year contract?
I couldn't speak to what the motivation was behind the length of the term. I can only tell you that it was revisited to be a lesser term of 5 years for this time around.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions from the council? 4.2, authorize receipt of bids for Peterbilt parts and repairs. This bid is for various repairs to Township Peterbilt trucks that cannot be done in-house. This is mostly due to the fact that the repairs require specialized equipment and training and the purchase of Peterbilt parts. The total approximate expenditure to date is $115,000 for the last 2 years. The current vendor is Hunter Jersey Peterbilt. So we're going out to bid for that contract. Resolution 3, authorize receipt of bids for professional medical services. The current contract is a 1-year contract that will expire on August 9, 2014. This bid is to provide pre-employment physicals, fit-for-duty testing, and drug and/or alcohol collection services for new and existing employees. The total approximate expenditure to date is $35,127. The current vendors are Meridian Occupational Health and Institute for Forensic Psychology. Resolution 4, authorize receipt of bids for public safety uniforms. The current contract is a 2-year contract, which will expire on October 27th, 2014. To date, we have spent approximately $65,000, and this is for clothing for new hires on the police department and the EMT. The current vendors are Red the Uniform Tailor and American Uniform and Supply. Resolution 5, authorize receipt of bids, administration of affordable housing program. I would like our business administrator to just go over this a little bit. Our affordable housing program.
We
If
have
you could,
always
please.
done this through a process by which we are able to directly contract. We would like to open up that field as more firms and professionals have become specialized in this field. So we'd like to be sure that we're having, we have the most qualified representative perform the function at the most economical cost to the township. So we'd just like to open it up, see what's out there, see what our options are, and review those, and come back to the council and ask for a recommendation of award.
Thank you very much. Authorize receipt of rebid for the food truck concession. Sealed bids went out on June 5th, and no bids were received at the indicated time and place. And this is for the Bricktober event scheduled for October 18th, 2014. So we're just going out to rebid for this. Resolution 7, authorize receipt of proposals, Attorney for Property Maintenance Board. And we just need an attorney for that board, so we're asking for bids for that. Resolution 8, authorize award a bid for vehicle repair services. Sealed bids were received by purchasing on May 9th. They were reviewed by the Department of Public Works. The bid for vehicle repairs is hereby awarded to Larson Ford. It is a 2-year time and material contract beginning June 15th, ending on June 14th, 2016, and it will not exceed an annual amount of $100,000. Resolution 9 has a few tiebreakers, but to introduce this is an authorized award of bid for rental equipment and operators. Bids were received on May 13th. They were reviewed by the Department of Public Works. It's a 1-year contract commencing on June 11th and ending on June 10th, 2015. Can I ask our official coin tosser to please come up and help us break these ties? Does
You have to
anybody have a
supply-
coin?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to give a brief explanation about this, Council President,
course.
because this is the third meeting in just a couple of months that we've had ties, which is very unusual. And the reason for that is that these bids go out, and there are a number of items that the town requests bids on. On this particular bid, there are 36 items. For example, a backhoe, a chipper, a dozer, so that of those 36 items, 5 of them ended up in ties, which leads us to Ms. Cole, who has become very good at the coin flipping, and I do have a coin. I know Councilman Moore has one up. That's a great coin.
Oh, my goodness.
I think that's it's actually not properly certified coin, so we have to use this.
It's a little top heavy.
Ms. Cole, the first item is Moderno Construction and BGM Construction tied for a gas centrifugal pump 3-inch. So I'm gonna make Moderno heads and BGM tails. Cole, the floor is yours. That is heads. That'll be Moderno.
Heads, again.
The next item is a loader with operator, JR, this is item number 11, JR Custom Landscaping will be heads, Richmark Contracting will be tails. That is tails. That will go to Richmark. Item number 25, foreman hourly rate $39, heads will be Glenside Equipment, tails will be JR Custom Landscaping. That is tails again. JR Custom Landscaping. Item number 28, light equipment operator, hourly rate $32. Heads will be Moderno Construction. Tails will be JR Custom Landscaping. That is heads.
2 for 2.
We'll go to Moderno. Last one.
Tiebreaker.
Item 29, truck driver, hourly rate is $30. Heads will be Glenside Equipment. Tails will be JR Custom Landscaping. That is heads.
Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Certainly my pleasure.
Thank you, Captain.
Okay. So the bids are the award of the bid is going to BGM Construction, Bill Jim Construction, Glenside Equipment, JR Custom Landscaping, Moderno Construction, and Richmark Contracting. For 10, authorize award of contract office supplies through Stafford Township Cooperative Pricing System. It is going to WB Mason. It's an open-ended contract with funds being encumbered contingent upon the availability of funds not to exceed $25,000 per year. It is a 2-year contract from May 19, 2014, ending on May 18, 2016. And it's hard to believe, but government entities can work well together. We will actually see approximately a 70% discount on the products that we purchase through this vendor because of this Stafford contract. For 11, authorize award of competitive contracting proposal, municipal court debt collection. This is an item that was on the mayor's 100-day plan. There was a committee formed, bids went out, we received 4 bids back. And it is going to Pioneer Credit Recovery. There is a fee charge that the township does not pay. It is added to the fine itself. So this is pretty much a wash for the township. We get to collect the money through this vendor, but we don't pay anything to do it. So it's definitely a win for us. It is a 1-year contract beginning on the date after award, and it could be a 2-year contract with 1-year terms in place. Mayor, did you want to add anything to this, being that it was on your plan?
Yep. Yeah, sure. We did research after, as part of the transition team, and there was about $650,000 that was in the municipal court system that was uncollected. So it was fines that were stale and not being collected. And so we took the opportunity, since they passed a state law, to allow this type of collection service. So if there's a $100 fine that a person owes, the town still gets their full $100. They're not allowed to negotiate off of that. But the business is allowed to charge above the $100 as their collection fee, and whatever they're able to collect as far as that goes to the business itself. And there was 4, as the council president said, 4, but they were from Washington State, they were from New York, they were from Pennsylvania, and then the 4th one was from New Jersey, which was the Pioneer. Right? Or, I'm sorry, no, New York, New Jersey. Pioneer Credit is from New York, but they had the recommendation letter from the state of New Jersey taxation stating the company far exceeded the contractual revenue minimums each and every year, and that the quantity and quality of work met or exceeded their expectations. And I do note that the committee had chosen Pioneer because it was unanimously, they received the highest points in all criteria from each member of the evaluation committee. So thank you, council, for passing this so we can check off another thing on my 100-day plan. Thanks.
Happy to, thank you. Resolution 12, authorize award of contract, International Healthcare Services, going into our third year. This is for the Employee Dental Program of BRIC. It's awarded for 1 more year. And that's about it. We are happy with their services. This is actually going to be a 10-month contract because we're a little behind on passing this for the next year. 413, authorized shared service agreement with the MUA for water main replacement. Again, another great example of how government entities can work together, although the MUA is a private entity. There is a water main replacement project on Winding River Lane under the Woodland Valley Roadway Improvement Project. So as we are fixing that section of the road, the MUA will come in before we repave it, fix the water mains, we'll bill them the cost, and then we'll repave the road. Resolution 14, authorize agreement with FinCredit for the Buy and Brick Reward Card Program. Another item off of our 100-day list. Mayor Ducey, would you like to address this?
Sure, thank you. FinCredit is the company that we went with as far as the Buy and Brick program, which is the property tax relief reward program that I spoke about a number of times, but on January 1st, I first introduced it. It's basically where you get the rewards card like you have at ShopRite or CVS or a number of other stores obviously have those. But instead of having the name of the store on there, it actually has Buy and Brick. And what it does, depending on the merchant, because we're in the process of signing up merchants to be part of the program, they offer a percentage that would go towards your property taxes in the third quarter. So it's a way to lower your property tax bill by buying locally and shopping locally and eating locally, and this way the businesses get helped. Hopefully some of our empty buildings can get filled, and businesses get helped as well because they get new customers, they get repeat customers. And when I spoke over at the pavilion, there was a citizen who asked a question who said, "You mean if I go out to the light here and I make a right and I go to Charlie Brown's, I don't get any, I wouldn't get any credit on my taxes. But if I make a left and I go eat it somewhere the other direction, I'll get 10% of my bill towards my property taxes." And I said, that's exactly the way it works. So it just depends on the percentage that each merchant decides on. But for example, if restaurant A decides to be part of the program for 10%, and you go in and eat a $100 meal, you still pay your $100. But the restaurant puts $90 in the bank. They then put $10 over to this FinCredit, who charges a 25% fee, and then on your third quarter taxes, you have $7.50 off your third quarter taxes. So the more you spend locally, the more you shop locally, and the more you dine locally, the better it is for the business, the better it is for yourself, the better it is for the town. So, thank you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to getting this program off the ground, and I'd like to thank the Economic Committee, too, for putting in all their time and effort to get this program started. Resolution 15, authorize award of rebid for electrical services. As you know, we've had quite a few council meetings where we had to toss the bids for various reasons, but we got it nailed down this time. And the Public Works Director looked at all of the bids, and it is going to Antonio Santos in Lock Arbor. This award is for a 1-year contract commencing on June 11th and ending on June 10th. It's a time and material bid not to exceed $300,000. Did any of the council members have questions or anything they'd like to say about this? Okay. Resolution 16, authorize award of proposal, sale of mulch. We have lots and lots of excess mulch down at the yard. So to make room for it, they had a great idea to sell it and make a little money for the township. So the award is going to Tri-State Materials, doing business as Green Pro Materials, and the amount of $2.51 per cubic yard unscreened and $3.76 per cubic yard screened. Resolution 17, authorize change order number 3 final for Lower Lake Riviera and Rainbow Dams. The change order representing as-built quantity adjustment is needed to successfully complete the repairs and reconstruction of the Lower Lake Riviera and Rainbow Lake dams. And the contract issued to Marlin Construction Services be decreased by $85,895.40. So that's some good news. Resolution 18, authorize additional appointment to the alternate municipal prosecutor. From time to time, there may be a new lawyer to a firm or what have you. If the lawyer that is the usual lawyer is sick or he's on vacation, he needs a replacement. So all this resolution does is add another lawyer from their firm to be a fill-in for that day. And that person's name is John Intelli. I think I said that right. Resolution 19, support participation in the Sustainable New Jersey Municipal Certification Program. At the last council meeting, the council entertained me in a brief discussion about the Sustainable Brick Program, and we need a representative to upload our materials and be our contact through the state and to get some of the initiatives off the ground here at Town Hall. And this resolution appoints our township planner, Michael Fowler, as that person. Resolution 20, support sustainable land use pledge. Land use is an essential component of overall stability for a township. Of course, if you build out all your land and you don't do it smartly, you have sprawl that doesn't really make much sense. So what this does is put something on the books to say we need to do this a little smarter. Let's have some roads that connect. Let's add some bike trails that can take you from one side of town to the other if you don't want to own a car. Other transportation choices like more bus stops or taxi companies, a different range of housing options, create walkable communities, have more sidewalks everywhere to preserve open space, to provide for adequate recreation, and allow for the continued protection and use of vital natural resources. Everything is laid out in this resolution. Council, did you have any questions about this? Resolution 21, authorize adoption of the Sustainable Green Jersey Grounds and Maintenance Policy. This is an easy one. This is things that we already do. When people come in front of the planning board, we ask them to plant native plants, plants that don't need a lot of water to help save water, to keep the grounds looking nice, ask them to use the correct fertilizers so there's not too many nitrates going into our aquifers and water systems. Compost landscape wastes, for example, and use your waste as mulch. So that's what all of this covers in here. It's just a good outline of what you should use when you are considering your landscape options. Resolution 22, authorize appointment to the MUA. As we all know, Joseph Vini resigned come May 16th, and we are taking our alternate, James Bayard, and putting him in the regular commissioner's position. And he will fill the unexpired term effective June 10th, and it expires on January 31st. We will be filling, on the passage of this resolution, that alternate 2 commissioner position with Ms. Stacy Olson. And that term runs through Mr. Bayard's unexpired term effective June 10th, and that expires on January 31st, 2019. Resolution 23, authorize appointment to the Housing Authority. We did have, unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, a resignation from that committee, or board, I should say, as well. And actually both, the resident commissioner as well. So in the regular commissioner's position, we are appointing Dolores Lunetta Radich for a term expiring on March 14th, 2017. And the resident commissioner will be James Conroy, and his term expires March 14th, 2015. Resolution 24, authorize special events permit for Ocean Medical Center Heart and Soul 5K Run and Walk. This event actually occurred on June 8th. We were not able to get it to council in time, but this is an event that they do have for many years now. I spoke with the clerk about this, about having it on the agenda to pass, because I believe that's something we have to do anyway. But all of their paperwork was in order in time for the event, with the traffic control and through the police department and the fire marshal. So they did meet all of the recommendations, but we still have to pass this nonetheless. And of course, our clerk did speak with them about making sure their paperwork was in on time next year to get it passed by council before the event. Thank you. Resolution 25, authorize special events permit for Green Grove Marina Family Fun Day. This is on June 28th from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock on 41 Division Street. And it looks like a really fun time. They have a bunch of tables set up for the kids and the families to enjoy different crafts and events. Did any of the council have questions on the special event permit? Okay. Resolution 26, authorize the 2014-2015 liquor license renewals without restrictions, consumption, distribution, and club license. And that would be for Simcoe's Grill, Crab Addison, which is Joe's Crab Shack, Joss Flow Corporation is the Arrowhead Inn, the Villa Vittoria Restaurant, River Rock Sports Bar and Grill, Spirits Unlimited, TGI Fridays, Forbes Liquors, the Linate By-Right, Bricktown Liquors, The Wine Shop, which is Tenali Wines, the New Jersey Wine Gallery, Brick Liquors, By-Right of Brick, Wine World, Joe Canals, and the club licenses are the American Legion and the Knights of Columbus. Any questions, council?
There's a couple more.
Did I miss a page?
The last page.
Oh, I missed a whole page. Thank you, Councilwoman. Brick Elks, Matitaconk River Yacht Club, Royal Order of the Moose Lodge, 1862, Riviera Beach Boat Club, Shore Acres Yacht Club, and Brick Township Veterans of Foreign Wars. Thank you for pointing that out. They'd be very disappointed. Resolution 27, what's this? Authorization of 2014-2015 plenary retail consumption liquor licenses renewals with restrictions. And those are Applebee's, Carrabba's Italian Grill, Famous Dave's, Bonefish Grill, Tommy's Coal Fire Pizza, Used to Be's, Mansion on the Plaza, Mantoloking Road Pub, Outback Steakhouse, Brickhouse Bar and Grill, and Buffalo Wild Wings. Council, do you have any questions about either of these liquor license renewals? Okay. There's so many of them. Sorry, my papers got a little stuck together here. Okay, Resolution 28, bond release and reductions. The township engineer notified the township clerk by letter dated May 23rd that there is $3,543.66 remaining in the engineering inspection fund for Homes Now, Inc. here in Brick. She advised that all of the required improvements have been completed and are acceptable, and we will be returning the $3,543.66 plus accrued interest if applicable remaining in the engineering inspection fund. 429, authorized tax collector to prepare and mail the estimated tax bills. The entire estimated tax levy for 2014 is set at $211,204,418. It's a big number. Okay. Resolution number 30, tax collector A, 100% DAV refund and cancel taxes for DeBrono. B, 100% DVA refund and cancel taxes Delaney. C, 100% DAV refund and cancel taxes Kosmowski. D, cancel taxes for Bretton Woods Reservation Strip. E, cancel and refund taxes exempt property block 702.11 lot 2. F, tax overpayments 2014. G, redemption of tax sale certificate, Lizinski. H, state tax appeal granted, JSM at Route 70 LLC. This is the end of our consent agenda. Can I please have a motion and a second to end the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman DeYoung, seconded by Council Vice President Bosman. At this time, I will open to the public for questions on the resolutions only. Yes, sir, in the back? It was difficult to see him. He's incognito with the facial hair as well.
Razor broke.
Nice.
It worked a little bit.
Okay. First question is on 4-4. How
Okay.
often do we replace uniforms for police officers? I see when they come on, we give them $2,612.
Mhm.
By contract, how often because it then says we also supply replacement uniforms for all divisions. Is it annually? Is it?
Varies between the different contracts for the different public safety type of employees, but generally annually. And it's not the stipend amount that you get upon hire, it's a replenishment amount, which is less.
Okay. If they don't take it, do they get the $2,600?
No, it's specifically for
For the
uniforms.
uniform.
Correct.
Okay. 4-7, going out for the proposal for attorney for maintenance board. For the record, I'm on the maintenance board. Just seems that it's unfortunate it took this long a period of time here in June. I mean, there are people out there with houses next to them that are totally dilapidated.
Mhm.
Nothing's happening. Makes me sad that it takes that period of time. We worry about the 100th day. Here we are 180 days, and nothing's been done there. 4-8, vehicle repair services. I really think you should think about voting on this. The reason being, when it comes to bills, I come up here and I moan and groan a lot and look at the money. And Paul had agreed with one time when we were spending a lot of money on vehicle repairs for diagnostic. Looking at this bid, the one that you're going to throw out, because they didn't have a plus or a minus in front of the parts.
Yes.
Look at the per hour rates on every category. The first one's only a 10-cent an hour difference, but on the rest of them, the other bidder that you're not going to consider is $25.10 an hour less, $6 an hour less, $6 an hour less. He's higher on one, $10 an hour more. On the rest, $15 an hour less, $20 an hour less, $20 an hour less. That accumulates to a lot of money. You're talking about $100,000 total expenditure, but if you take that into consideration, you're going to be able to fix a lot more vehicles if you would reconsider that. So I think it's a bad move when in fact you could turn around and go back out and save, just looking at this, at least $20,000
Okay.
on 4-8. On 4-11, I'm going to come back to that. On 4-13, where you're going to get reimbursed for the water, I guess Mr. Fosman is on the MUA. Looking at what they're doing, they're replacing a plastic line, and it's a water line, and they're replacing it with an iron pipe. I thought they stopped doing that, using iron. It says in the specs they're going to replace it with 6-inch iron pipe. What?
Duct iron.
Oh, okay.
But what's the difference for everyone in the crowd that may not understand what that is?
It's the standard,
On 422, with the.
Okay, and we'll get back to that, because I'd like to
Okay.
know the difference as well.
With the appointment for the MUA, is the individual that you selected not going to take health benefits and?
Absolutely not. That is one of the stipulations that this council ran on, that we would not appoint members to the MUA that would be receiving the health care benefits, and
Or the-
she
or the
has a
stipend.
well, I did not ask that question. She definitely will not be taking the health care package.
That's a $4,000 or $5,000 stipend at the MUA, Mr.
I
Fosman?
believe it's 4,000.
Okay, I think that's $4,000 that should have been asked. Why wasn't it asked?
I can't control that. That's that person's prerogative. There's only so many things we can do in that arena. But we know for sure she's not going to be taking the health care, which is considerably a lot more
Is it she or a
money.
he? We're applying a he temporarily, right, until January?
Mr. Bayard?
He's
Mr.
already-
Bayard will not be taking the health care. He already has health care set up, and Ms. Stacy Olson does as well. So neither of them will be taking the health care.
And the stipend, you don't know the answer to?
I do not have the answer to that.
Okay. On 26, for the licenses, I don't know if the clerk's aware of this, but one of the people on that list, their building was destroyed by Sandy. For their own protection, if there's not a physical structure there, I think they have to notify the state, but that's not up to me, that's really up to the clerk to stay on that. Going back to 411, the way you did this for the municipal court debt collection, I gotta really give kudos, because a lot of time and effort went into that. You know, hopefully you're gonna resolve and collect quite a bit of money, but the system that you use with the points, with the business administrator, and Mr. Pizarris, yourself, I think was,
Councilwoman.
yeah, and a lot of time and effort went into that,
Yes.
and I think if, you know, that was addressed more, like why I'm complaining about 4.8, the money, it was done beautifully, so my congratulations on that. So if you can really think about not doing 8, I think you're gonna waste a lot of money, if you consider that. Basically, that's all I have right now.
Thank you. I don't know if you'd like to stay to get the answer to your 2 questions.
If you don't mind.
I'd like to have the duct dial thing explained to me, but also I do have a question on 482. The other bid was considerably less. If we vote no on this resolution, for the sake of conversation, can we go out to rebid on this because of that error, because the prices are lower?
And it's plus or minus a minor flaw?
Very
No,
minor.
from a purchasing perspective, it's considered a major flaw. It's considered rejectionable.
That is a defect in the bid, and a defect in one bid is not grounds to throw out all bids. It's simply defective, and it's a material defect because we don't know what their price actually is because of that defect.
Because it could be plus 33%.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you very much. And Mr. Fosman or Mr. Mumolo, could you explain to everyone what that piping is? What's the difference?
Well, I know it's 2-inch poly that's in there now, and they're gonna upgrade it to 6-inch ductile iron pipe, and that pipe is the standard for today's industry. That's all I can tell you right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Councilwoman, going back to number 8, there's an exception then for Lawson on engine assemblies, transmission assemblies, due to a variety of units and cost, the charge will be $250 over the cost. So that negates their minus 33. Where is the exception to that on their bid?
Would you like to address that?
I think that's a specific question for our purchasing agent. She's the one that certifies if all bids are in compliance, and I wouldn't want to speak to that without talking to her, but. so,
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't speak to it without talking to her.
But nonetheless, we could not toss all of the bids because of that material exception, and then Larson is the next responsive bidder.
That's correct. The
Okay.
next low bidder, that's correct. Or actually, technically the lowest bidder. That is right.
Anything else, Mr. Scott?
No,
Did we
I'm good.
cover it?
Those are the
Thank
questions
you.
I had.
Anyone else from the public wish to be heard on the consent agenda this evening? Members of council? Okay, I will ask for a roll call, please.
Councilman Moore,
No on 4.8 and yes to the rest.
Councilwoman DeYoung,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik,
Yes.
Councilman Mumolo,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero,
Yes.
Vice President Fosman,
I'm gonna abstain on 413, 422, 423, and yes to the rest.
President Leidecker.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to bill resolutions, computer 2014.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid, and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Computer bill resolution in the amount of $13,447,555.78.
Thank you. Can I have a motion and second?
Motion. Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman DeYoung, seconded by Councilwoman Pontarero. At this time, I would like to open to council for questions that they may have had.
Council President?
Yes.
I see the expenditure here for the Windward Beach Playground equipment. I understand it's been delivered. Could I ask our business administrator for an update on where we are with that construction project and in terms of deadlines? And I know we wanted to try and get it in sometime in June. Could you update us on that, please? Yes, I'd be happy to, Councilwoman. Thank you. The playground equipment has been delivered, and if not for the rain the past week, I'm sure folks would have tested it a little bit. I know I was tempted when I was there at the site visit last week. We've had a couple of kinks at the site, an underground septic tank that we were not aware of, and we had an electrical issue that also had to be resolved. So we had some fits and starts as we began progress, but we are continuing to monitor that through weekly site visits that we have with the contractor, our engineer involved in the project, and of course, several township employees who go to that meeting to be sure that whatever the contractor needs from our end is met immediately, and that we continue to hold the contractor's feet to the fire in terms of our deadline. When that contract was awarded, it was with a completion date of the end of June, and we fully expect and have made that very clear that criteria remains essential to be maintained, and let's hope we don't get there, but if we need to, there's legal recourse for us if that isn't met. But we are continuing to move forward aggressively, making sure that we meet the deadline and that we have into July are enjoying a beautiful new playground at Windward Beach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Yes, Mr. Momola.
And the deadline is, what day is it? This is 23rd?
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Okay. I'd like to open to the public on our bill resolutions for the computer 2014.
No, I have a question.
Mr. Scott?
Mr. Mumolo
I
has
had
Oh,
one
absolutely.
question. I wanted to, it was brought up to my attention, but Mr. Scott probably is going to catch it, which is number 1 on there for the AD Star softballs. Which I bet you was on his list, at $4,960. And I did talk to Joanne about that. Maybe you could explain.
Yeah, just a few calls on that, Councilman Mumolo, not that many. But yes, it struck our councilman that it was a very high amount for softballs. In fact, we are buying 160 dozen softballs for our men's softball league. We do this through an agreement with the league. The township is in a position to get better pricing because of the fact that we go out to bid and solicit prices. And as such, they would like to take advantage of the cheaper price for the cost of softball. We increase the fee per team to cover the cost of these softballs, so we are fully reimbursed for this cost. It just enables them to buy their materials at a rate that is more affordable for them, buying it on their own. It's also been mentioned to me that they have to be a certain, and gosh, I can't tell you how long it's been since I played softball, so I'm sure I'm not using the right terminology, but the balls and the bats have to be a certain weight, so that they're not flying into people's homes and the games are fair. So we meet the criteria that everybody's using the same balls and bats while also helping them get the most affordable prices. ASA certified.
That is 1,920 that we purchased.
All
It's
right.
not a balls.
Council President,
Yes.
just really quick, I know you probably don't have the numbers. I saw Arcadis again. Could you just get back to me on this? How much in total Sandy is and how much total, I know it's the 90-10 split, how much we've gotten back thus far?
We'll have a full report on that as we close out and,
Okay.
complete reimbursements. We do have quite a bit pending. This contract ends at the end of June.
Okay.
We had a meeting last week with representatives from Arcadis and our township employees to be sure they were aware that when the deadline of June 30th came, the deadline is here, and that all materials that we would need to continue to answer questions from FEMA and from residents, insurance companies, so on and so forth, is available to us in our SharePoint drive. So we have diligently begun transitioning and to ensure that we have all the documents that we need from Arcadis.
Thank you.
The last count that we had was, we billed out 18 million and we received a little bit over 6 million so far.
Okay.
But that's before all these last invoices. So
Yeah.
I know the amount that we got back is still the same, but we've billed out more.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Scott, would you like to come up?
Sorry about that, Mr. Scott.
No, softballs wasn't on my list.
No, no.
But bathing suits are. Okay, Arcadis was one of mine also, $86,434. I also, as one of the citizens, keep asking about the same question as this Councilwoman Chung. We had a meeting where they were there and accepted questions as part of John's transition team. I think that was effective. I think you should try to do that again, because there are a lot of open-ended situations, like with the PPDR, the demolition. Where are we with their checking out, matching up with the insurance, if they were helping, Trish or whatnot. These are things that I would like to know when we're spending $86,000. I think that is part of their obligation. On page 10, CME, Colorado Park, $15,000 for park improvements. I just assumed that that's for the engineering part of it.
Soft engineering.
Strategic recovery planning for Hurricane Sandy, $7,800. And they had one, ACOE easements, $18,000. If you could explain what that is, I would appreciate that.
Sure.
On page, you want to do?
Oh, yeah, we could do afterwards.
Okay. Page 13. Sports field netting. We're named, we're coming, cross-country cowboy.
This is a bid, an award of bid that we did, I want to say, 3 council meetings
We
ago.
did? Okay.
Mhm.
And they were the lowest, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. So that's done.
By quite a few $1,000s, actually.
Okay. Page 14. Dakota Fitzpatrick, here we are. Still paying
Yes.
bills, reference to Juan Baloo disciplinary matter. When are we at the end of this? How much have we spent on that so far? What is the total cost? What is the anticipated total cost? Do you know? If you don't know, I'd like to find out.
It may be difficult to give you an anticipated cost. It just depends on how long it takes to finish, but we can definitely get you what we've spent so far. I think this is the second bill resolution it's been on, so it'll be this, and then I'm not gonna guess what the
Yeah.
last one is.
Well, Council President, last week I asked, of course, if we can get this money back after litigation, if it gets that far and all of
Right.
that. And Mr. Starkey did say that he would absolutely be pursuing the legal cost that it is to the
Okay,
town.
Asking for attorney
Absolutely.
reimbursement fees.
Absolutely.
Okay, I hope we're successful on that. Page 19, kind of the one to make, Florio Perucci Steinhardt, professional service rendered for the planning board. Is that money that was paid to the planning board, that you're just paying them out?
Exactly, that's
Reimbursement?
money that the applicants had to put into escrow.
That's fine. Page 25, J&R Landscaping, $61,770 for berm restoration. Is that reference to the steel revetment, or which berm restoration are we talking about?
This is for equipment and operation, to help restore the berm during storms, so it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the revetment project. But when we have storms come in, we mobilize and use assistance from subs as needed to stabilize the berms. There's very little sand in many of those places. So we're trying to protect public and private property until the revetment project is done.
Are we getting reimbursed for that port at the same 90/10?
We're submitting reimbursements for all the work that we do until the revetment is in.
Okay, but this is not necessarily the ones that the Department of Transportation, right? These are our
These
our
are,
private properties.
this is us making these decisions to go out and replenish or
Okay,
restore the berm, I should say, during storm
The reason I'm
events.
asking, I didn't get a chance to look at these bills.
Mr. Scott, I had all the same questions, actually, so far.
Okay. Question to council. Millennium Strategies, page 30, $4,500. They're experts to the city council. What do they do? What's it
Well,
for?
their expert services is our grant writers. If you recall, we had a previous grant writer, and we replaced them with this company. So
Okay.
that's their monthly
Yeah.
bill.
Council President?
Yes.
They're actually going to be conducting a economic revitalization audit for us to figure out where we can improve with all our businesses, what could go where. and just to give us a better map of our town to better suit that. And that will follow in the $4,500. So they are doing that without an extra fee, which normally they would charge towns.
So annually, we pay them over 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
Previously, would we pay the other one?
I think
About the
just about
same.
the same.
It was actually a little bit higher. It was closer to 60.
Okay. That was millennium. Ocean County Department of Finance, Sandy Shared Services, $1,304,000.
Which page are
What
you on?
page you on?
Which page?
That's page 36. If we haven't been reimbursed, why are we so anxious to pay the county if we haven't gotten the money yet? They expect us to pay, but
This was part of the shared service agreement that we signed at the time that Sandy came through, was that we would participate in this shared service opportunity for all debris removal, and the 10% portion of the contract that they paid out is our responsibility. They had to pay it out, so they came collecting for our 10% as we committed to in the shared service agreement.
so we're looking that they did $13 million worth of work in brick?
For the county. This is the 10%, that's our portion.
Okay. But my question is, the 10% for the $1.3 million is work that was just done in brick, correct? So if 10% was our portion, what you're saying to me is that they billed out $13 million for work done in brick, if our obligation was only 10%.
Obligation was 10% of the total contract. They parceled it out amongst the towns 100%.
So
Yeah.
we paid for what was done in Toms River and anywhere else in Ocean County?
No, they took the total contract amount and divvied it up between the towns based on the size. 10% was our portion for the work that was expected to be done in brick.
That's
Can we
interesting.
revisit that afterwards? Because when we passed the contract, I was under the impression it was just for brick. They were keeping each town separate. So if we can talk about that after the meeting, I'd appreciate that.
Yes, we can, but I think we're saying the same things, which I
Okay.
sometimes tend to do, say things in my own way. But this is
Okay.
for our portion, which was estimated to be about 10% of the total bill. At the time, you had to do some estimation.
To clear it up, they, the county kept track, like Brick spent this much, Little Lake Harbor spent this much, and we're paying 10% of our portion. It's not like being divided up like a pro rata basis or anything like that.
Okay.
So yes, 13 million, 10% of
Would be-
13 million is 1.3 million.
That they spent in brick, okay.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to find out, okay. Standard alternative, 2 million, is that part of the 37 million that we said we would put up for them? Is this like
What page?
a drawdown? That is on page 47,
Oh.
$2,010,592, that's for the solar project?
The
Okay.
township is serving as a financial institution for this project,
So-
so we went out and borrowed the money, and basically it's in an escrow account. So this is the portion when they have to borrow the money and
So
draw
this-
down the
This is part
funds.
of that $37 million
Yes,
that
that's
we
correct.
borrowed, that they're
Yes.
drawing against?
Correct.
Okay, have they paid the interest and the bond anticipation notes prior to this? Because that was part of the agreement. They were gonna reimburse us all of our fees as we went along. Have we gotten that money?
I don't know that we've billed them out for that money.
Which was, I think, $300,000 that they owe us.
I don't know if we have gotten it yet, but we'll get back to you before the next meeting with that answer.
That would be great. And again, waterside construction, huge bill.
Yeah.
These people came in to straighten out all of the problems that we had with the contractor. Here they are billing us $86,085 and $69,973. My main concern is, are there any problems left over? I had talked to the mayor about this before. One of our employees was taking care of this. I've yet to see anything being matched up. Have you?
Is your question, what is this amount covering? Because this is work that was done
Well-
previously, but there were liens and such, and now that's sorted out, so
Well,
now we have
that's-
to pay
And
them.
that's the whole thing. Before we paid them, what, 155,000, are all the notices and liens that we were notified about taken care of before we paid us 155,000.
This is
It's a
two
different
payments. The bottom payment of $69,000 is the last of the mechanics lien.
That's the 69,973?
That's the final mechanics lien, yes. And then the top one, the 86,000, is the balance due to Waterside.
Okay. What about any other work that Fiore didn't do or that we had to get done by third-party contractors? Are we still on the hook for any of that money? Do you know?
Not that I'm aware of. This resolved all of the outstanding issues, and the funds were not released until all of that was resolved.
Okay. May I have a meeting with the business administrator? I'd like to see that, show me.
See if she's available, but, yeah.
That would be nice. Give her my regards. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else like to be heard about the computer bill resolution 2014? Okay, seeing none, I will close to public and ask for roll call.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman deYoung.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Abstain on New Jersey press media, yes to the rest.
Councilman Mumalo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Yes.
Vice President Fosman.
Abstain on the MUA and yes to the rest.
President Leidecker.
Yes. Thank you. Moving on to Bill Resolution Manual 2014.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $2,864,317.64.
Thank you. Motion and second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman deYoung, who's on a roll tonight, and seconded by Councilwoman Zapsek. I'd like to open to the council for manual resolution. Seeing no questions, I'll open to the public. Seeing none, I'll ask for roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Abstain, township payroll, and yes to the rest?
Councilwoman deYoung.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Mumalo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Yes.
Vice President Fosman.
Yes.
President Leidecker.
Yes. Okay, we are moving on to ordinances on the second reading. We do allow comment on ordinances on second reading, so please come forward if you have something to add to the conversation. Number 1, amend Chapter 175, Fees, Emergency Medical Services.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Section 175-17 of the Township Code entitled Maximum Fee Reimbursement Charges to change one existing fee and to establish a fee for Narcan.
Thank you. Short explanation on this. We had some revisions of changing the fees previously. What we are adding as well is the fee for the EpiPen that will be charged from, it'll be changed from $150 to $200, and we're adding a new subsection 8 shall be added, which shall establish a fee for Narcan for $150. Is there any public comment on this ordinance? Okay, seeing none, I'd like a motion and second, please.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Pontarero, seconded by Councilwoman deYoung, and roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman deYoung.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Mumalo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Yes.
Vice President Fosman.
Yes.
President Leidecker.
Yes. Ordinance on second reading number 2, amend Chapter 250, Land Use Procedures for the Architectural Review Committee, and I would like to ask Councilman Mumalo to please address this. He
Okay,
is on this committee.
Basically, what we did is we've taken out the requirement for single-family homes to appear before the Architectural Review Committee. We're still leaving in multifamily, tract homes, that type of thing, and commercial stuff. That's it.
Okay. Motion and second, please.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman deYoung, seconded by Council Vice President Bosman, and I will open this to the public. Seeing none, I will close public and ask for roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman deYoung.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Mumalo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Yes.
Vice President Fosman.
Yes.
President Leidecker.
Yes. It has come to my attention that well, I'm actually going to remove number 3, ordinance on second reading for the massage establishments. I received some information in the past 2 weeks that would possibly prompt a change in the ordinance, so instead of going to second reading and possibly making changes and having to go back to first reading again, we will review this again on the 24th for second reading on council. With that, We'll open for public comments. Mr. Slunka?
Good evening. Here's my letter. Dated June 1st, so it was done about 10 days ago. Dear Mayor Ducey, Council President Susan Lydecker, and the members of the Brick Township Council. Another month has passed by, and still the Brick Township residents continue to suffer physical and mental anguish brought about by the New Jersey Turnpike Authority. We all realize that the authority has sanctioned a removal of tens of thousands of trees within Brick Township's borders on the Garden State Parkway, and has given the township a few $100,000 in order to try to appease the Brick residents. Brick residents suffer from sleepless nights and choking days. The smell of the parkway traffic goes unimpeded, and the toxic fumes shower the neighborhoods. Brick Township government authorized the planting of trees in Evergreen Woods area a few months ago, but due to a combination of bureaucracy and other things, nothing so far has gotten done. Plans should be set forward immediately and tree planting started, but things just drag on and nothing gets done. The trees are only a small stopgap measure that will not eliminate the suffering of Brick Township's homeowners and taxpayers. An 18-foot wall is needed to stop the noise and pollution of over 300,000 trucks, buses, and other vehicles daily. This costs money, however, and the authority is much more concerned with the bottom line and their established bonuses than the people's health and lives. Hundreds of school children are harmed daily as noise levels far exceed the norm, and their lungs are being inundated daily. Do big government agencies not care? And the answer is yes. They do not care what happens to the people as long as they can get the millions of dollars in bonuses each year. Why do residents have to continue to suffer? Brick Township government has allocated some of the authority funds to Evergreen Woods, and it's time to get the work done. At this point, many of the residents are anxious to see the plans for the new forestation and wondering when the initial planting will begin. How long, one must ask, do the citizens' life have to be impacted and destroyed? It seems like the authority will do almost anything to avoid helping the residents. At first, they avoided the truth about the impact of their environmental destruction on Parkway. Then they lied about its continued impact. This was followed by the authority trying to do a sleight of hand maneuver by saying one thing and basically doing nothing. At the last meeting, we heard they actually talked to a council member and suggested an alternative, and that alternative being a 15 to 20-foot high berm. Dirt is cheap, we heard, but so are words. The residents were told about the berm, and in the past have even suggested it, but in reality, they were mocked for doing so. No one believes the Turnpike Authority anymore. If they believe they have a real plan, let's see it and let them back it up with written documentation, or is this just another delaying tactic? We have all heard the words, the lies, the deceit, and the deception for too long. It's time for the mayor, the council, and the governor to put the authority's feet to the fire and demand action. Lives are being harmed daily, and action never seems to take place. We all know the authority is protecting bonuses and their power, but with continued support from the Brick government and hopefully continued attention from the news media, we the people will overcome. This is truly a government agency too large, and they must be corralled and made to realize that destroying the environment and people's lives will not be allowed by the people of the state and this country. The citizens will overcome the tyranny. That was basically my letter. Let me just, I left it a little short in case something came up in between, and there were two things. I don't know if the mayor even got a copy of this. Maybe Michelle sent it to him. But we did well, I didn't do it. They asked me last minute if I wanted to participate, and I had something to do all day, and they asked me to go on anyhow. But there's a YouTube that just went out. Michelle will probably have to send it to the council, and stuff like that if she didn't already. It was made a few days ago. There's 670 hits on it already, an amazing amount of people stopping and saying, we knew it was bad, but it can't be that bad. And until we saw that video, we did not believe it, even when we went by, because of what happens. I did it. The part I did was in the back where that berm was, they did. And it was so horrendous, I was yelling. I actually got a sore throat from yelling, trying to get people to hear. Okay, the other thing was the EPA, the state turnpike authority, the county, and the head of, I guess it's the management group of the Evergreen Woods Park, is having a meeting on the 24th of this month. That's three of them. No residents invited, and I'm not sure if anybody from your council or the mayor's office was invited either. Just so you know, it's there. Michelle will have the stuff. I don't have all that stuff. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Scott?
No papers in my hand, so you know this is going to be quick. Mr. Moore, I want to thank you for that vote tonight. I think the no vote for number 8 was the right thing. Saving money is important to me. I wish a couple more of you would have thought about that. Tomorrow being my 48th wedding anniversary, I'm just up here so that my wife knows that I'm thinking about her. And due to the early part of the evening, I am going to get out of here early. We are going away for a few days. Again, the business administrator, I'm sure she will contact me, because when I do ask about pertinent things, I find no hesitation in her answering the questions head-on. I will not say till after the meeting, so the question I did ask that you're going to get enlightened about, if we could get together in your office. Kathy, I'm coming home early. Take care.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have to know who I am? This is my first time here, so.
You do need to state your name for the
Okay,
record.
My name is Wendy Amo, and I live at Lyndhurst
And
Drive.
you can pull the microphone down?
That's right by the burned-out area. Okay, so you kind of have an idea. First, we want to thank you for the dunes. That's every storm that comes along, that we just are so thankful that you're there. You called it a burn, we call it a dune. But we do have some questions about them. Can we go on them? Are people supposed to be on them? I've asked the policemen, I've asked other people, and they tell us no. I happen to be a permanent resident of Lyndhurst Drive, and I go out and tell people don't go on the dunes, and they tell me they pay taxes, so therefore they're allowed on the dunes. I guess what I'm looking for is what is happening down there in that area. Can we go on our beach? Can we go on the dunes? And if we can't, can we have a sign that says we shouldn't be on the dunes? It's very, very difficult to tell the weekend people that they can't go on them or shouldn't go on them. And I don't want to be the policewoman for it. Is there a fine for being on the dunes? Are they patrolled? I asked one of the policemen on his little SUV thing, and he didn't know what the rules were. So that we would like to know. You put the beautiful burn there, but then the way it's done, it looks like it's the yellow brick road to go on the dunes. It almost looks like it's a pathway for them to go, the way it's been bulldozed. So it's a very difficult thing for us. My grandchildren are coming this weekend. I'd like to go to the beach, but I don't want to do what's wrong, because I want that to protect my home. There are several other questions. There's another family that lives on Lyndhurst Drive, so I don't want to use up all the time, but please keep fixing those dunes. We've just redone our house, rebuilt our house. And the other problem we have is everyone asks us what's happening at the Osborne property. And we have heard things from Hovnanian to a big old thing or what, and we just would like to be able to know if you know. You may not even know what's happening there or what is going to be happening there. So those are the questions I put before you. I'd like some answers at some point, and if nothing else, a sign that says
If you
do
like,
not.
would you like to leave your name and telephone number with our secretary? And we will have myself or our business administrator get back to you.
'Cause it looks like they're patrolling it at some times, but people are all over the dunes, and that's what's between us and the Atlantic Ocean. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
And this was very interesting on my first time here, so thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you'll come back.
Oh, if I have a problem. Unfortunately, that's the kind of people you get, all of us with problems, right?
As long as you come out, that's what matters. Michelle, would you like to come up?
Council President, briefly,
Yes.
the Camp Osborne, there's no applications that are pending before the Planning Board or the Board of Adjustment. So there's nothing that's been filed by the owners of Camp Osborne. So there's no plans that are,
Not Hovnanian, we've heard that Hovnanian bought a whole strip that was directly parallel to our road.
was that the property that was owned by Mr. Osborne?
Yes.
No, Mr. Osborne still owns that. Yep.
Thank you, see, we never know.
Good evening to council, everyone. Michelle from Evergreen Woods. First, I wanted to say that the June 24th meeting is with the Ocean County engineer Frank Scarantino, our property manager Brad, and the association's attorney. No one else is invited. Feel kind of, they're still being snobs about that, so nothing we can do about it. I did send a video. We sent a video that we did at Evergreen Woods, and also I sent Joan a copy of the PDF of the environmental impact statement that shows that there was no noise study done in our area for having anything to do with the basin, or they only did a flash flood, but there was no noise study done in our area, north and south, and on the northbound side. We were untouched, so. You recently sent a letter to the Turnpike Authority. Nobody's jumping up and down, so I guess we didn't hear anything, or?
We actually received the response today. It's about 5 pages. And,
Oh, it's probably like the response I got from somebody, same
yeah, it's pretty much a lot of,
same stuff?
we're not adding a lane,
Oh.
you know, we had to take the trees down, we had to put the basin where it is because of the floodplain management and the natural runoff of stormwater is the exact quote. Yeah, not a lot. They did put money into the No Net Loss Reforestation Act, and they'll take a look once it's completed about putting additional trees, and they're going to put the additional trees in the median as well as on the side, as long as it's far enough away from the traffic, because that's the reason why they knocked down the trees in the first place, was for safety of cars going into them, and that was the response we got. Yes.
Okay, so,
And they gave some numbers on sound studies that they did, around 96.8, 95.1, 94.3, and what it was before and after. But that's not by you guys. And that, they admit that.
Not by us.
Not by you, no. They
Yeah,
gave a
so
bunch of other
did-
sound
But they
studies.
say anything about the noise study that you sent?
Nothing.
Like they just trashed it or whatever, yes, okay. Would the Brick Township Council consider passing a resolution requesting the Turnpike to remediate the evergreen condition? Think
I'll
about it?
speak with the fellow council members about that.
Okay, all right, and we're not done yet, we're trying to get on the radio. We'll let you know so you can listen if that happens, and, we haven't ruled out going after they have their meeting, and we're gonna try to get on radio to, go up there ourselves, because I think the public is allowed to go and comment during their meetings. There's a public period. I've seen that on their meetings.
I haven't been to one myself, but I know that every public body in the state is subject to the Open Public Meetings Act.
Yeah,
And
so
requires a
we haven't ruled out
public
having
comment.
a bunch of us go, so we're not done with them yet. So, is it possible we can write even I guess a stronger, letter to them? But we're not taking no for an answer, and we're never gonna give up. So, that's it, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Call?
Nan Call, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard. In reference to Evergreen Woods and the request for the wall, I'm not positive where I was. It was 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was after the last council meeting. I may have been driving in an area on Route 18 that I don't usually travel, and it's not far from here. It was the southern end of 18 or the eastern, whichever direction it's supposed to be going in. There was a wall. There were no homes that I could see. If they can have a wall on Route 18, why can't Evergreen Woods have a wall and the other communities there? That said, I also, when I was sitting there, wondered, at least Frank Scarantino represents a public entity, a public body. I don't see why the homeowners or unit owners in Evergreen Woods should not be present at any meeting that he and the association are having. I can't conceive that it falls into attorney-client privilege or anything like that that is an exemption to the public meetings. I think somebody should look into that and see that those homeowners or unit owners, I guess is the phrase for them, get to know what's going on and not be excluded. And my last item is my favorite carping item about the consent agenda and the fact that by nature of being a consent means you have made your minds up to vote yes. Now, at one time you would sometimes ask the public if they wanted something removed from the consent agenda. That I don't recall being done tonight, certainly, and he's gone now, but Mr. Scott would have or should have requested number 8. I think that that deserved special discussion and should not have been included. And discussion means that he says his opinion, and you don't just give him an answer because you're not supposed to have formed your opinion on how to vote until after you hear what everybody says. Somebody from the public may bring something up that you didn't think of. And after that, in lieu of the fact that we don't have a formal caucus meeting anymore, I think that you need to definitely ask and make it understood that if anybody in the public wants it discussed at length, you will remove it from the consent agenda and discuss it so that it gets voted on separately with a yay or nay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir, I'm back.
How you guys doing tonight? My name's Dan Lubeck. I live at 83 Long Point Drive in Brick, obviously. I really don't feel like being here tonight, but I tried to get some answers to a question I had, and the few people I reached out to didn't have any time to get back to me. Back in September of 2013, a job came up in the Township of Brick. It was senior road inspector, all right? Before I applied for this job, I called Human Resources, which they said, you know, obviously it's a civil service job, you gotta go through civil service. Okay, I did it. I called engineering, I called zoning, just to figure out, you know, what's going on here. They all said at that time this was an open job. All right, so I fill out the application, send a resume and all that. So 4 people actually made this list. The results came out, I was ranked number 1, and there was 3 other guys on this list that were ranked number 1. A guy by the name of John Daniels, a gentleman by the name of Nick Junta, and a guy by the name of Russell Harris. At that time, I talked to another person who said this spot was going to be filled. All right. Subsequently, a couple months ago, I got a letter from, actually, no, I got this letter last month from Human Resources, which stated that, you know, I'm going to stay on this list, and this position hasn't been filled, or it has been filled, or whatever. So I called the lady up, Megan Osborne, and I said, what's going on with this letter I got? At which time she said, you know, yeah, we hired somebody for this job, all right? And I said, well, you know, if I'm ranked number 1, and you got 3 other guys that are ranked number 1, why do you just go hire somebody? Civil service rules, you're supposed to hire every person in that rank. So basically why I'm here tonight is I'd like to know why this guy, Russell Harris, got this job, and myself and 2 other guys were just totally blown off this list. So if
Okay.
you guys could come up with some kind of answers, I'd appreciate it.
That's not our realm, but if you like, if,
Well,
our
when I
business
brought my resume
administrator and our
everything,
attorney are very responsive. So do you want to address this now, or would you like to address it privately?
I'd just like to address part of it now, and frankly, it's just to caution the council that specific personnel, specific employees, and specific jobs in the township should not be discussed at a public meeting. But Sarah, I would be happy to discuss with you after the process that civil service goes through. I'm not familiar with this particular job, but I can certainly let you know how the process works and explain to you what happened. And to the extent I don't know, I'm sure we can find out for you.
Yeah, I'd like to get an answer. It don't have to be tonight, but I know there's a rule of 3 in civil service.
That's right.
If there's 4 guys with all the same rank, that means all 4 guys should have been interviewed, and that did not happen here.
You know what? I'll find out the process and let you know. You can call me, or you can call the business administrator, Joanne Berger, and we'll both be here at the end of the meeting
Well,
if you
yeah, I
want.
appreciate that. I mean,
Sure.
when Zaris was in charge, I tried calling him, but you can't get censorship.
Okay.
So how do I get the information?
You want us to stick around to the end of the meeting? If not, if you want to give your name and number to the clerk, either way, and we'll get back to you.
Okay. Anyone else from, yes. Melanie, nice to see you back after a very long absence.
Melanie Briggs. Just 2 little things. One, while I was home, I tried to keep up with the meeting. And it made me think of something. I'd like to suggest that the meetings be changed from being on at 8 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock, so it runs the same time as the meeting. Because when your meetings ran really late, like it was almost 11:30,
Midnight?
that means it's on till 12:30.
Yes, it was.
And I fell asleep. So if you run at the same time, the chances are people will last till the end of the meeting. The second thing is, I don't know if it's this sound system. I know some people come up here and they're talking like this, or they're talking like this. As a viewer, it's very frustrating to hear somebody and I don't have any idea what they're saying. I'm yelling, go sit down because I don't know what you're saying. You're wasting my time. So I don't know whether the sound system has to be corrected or people have to be told over and over again, talk into the microphone. And not yell, but raise your voice a little bit higher than you would in a normal conversation.
Okay.
And that's it.
Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you. I know I've been told over and over again to speak into the mic myself, so I do understand what you're saying. Sir, did you want to come up still?
Good evening. My name's James Dulong. I'm at 106 Lyndhurst Drive. And I'm happy to say I'm finally back home after Sandy. And I'd like to thank Township of Brick for putting the berm up. It's very comforting to see there's something there to protect my house when there was a substantial dune. And after Sandy, there's absolutely nothing. And around my house, there's absolutely nothing. Somehow my house was standing, but it took me this long to get back. Some of the issues that many of us are starting to come back now. I know on my street, almost all the houses on my street are being worked on now, and the people will be coming back. There's only a few of us who are permanent residents. And as you heard from Wendy, there's a lot of rumors around. Wendy's my neighbor, was up here before. One of the rumors, of course, is there's going to be a steel wall put across in front of our homes on the beach. We don't know when that's going to be, when that's going to begin, and how long that will take. Of course, the other big deal is the beach replenishment project and the easements. The only thing we know is there are a couple of individuals very close to us who we're just one house off the beach, who have not signed, and somebody who has, and we don't know. We would like to know what's going on with getting these easements signed or doing some sort of eminent domain to get these people moving so that we get this project done. We like the berm there, but we know if there's a substantial storm, there's not much there. There's not much protection for us, and we could wind up right away with what we just had. And I'm getting a little too old to wait a year and a half to come back home again. So please, if you've got any information at all on these issues, put them up somewhere on the website where we can see them right away, or send out letters to the permanent residents. I know us, the folks down the beach, are very concerned about it, and I know the people living on the bay, they better be just as concerned about it as us, because it affects them just as much as it does us. And I believe that's all I have. So please, get the information out, get the easement signed, and if you need to do eminent domain, well, I know one street full of permanent residents who would support you 100%. Thank you.
I think our mayor would like to add to your comments.
Yep, that's one less thing I have in my mayor's comments, so I'll cross this one off. But yeah, steel revetment project that starts June 23rd. What they're going to be doing is 500 feet at a time will be closed. So beach access, and they're going to be doing 150 to 175 feet a day. So for 3 days, there's going to be a 500-foot section of the beach closed down. Won't be access, whether it's a private beach, a public beach, or Brick Beach 1 or Brick Beach 3, 2, they're all in the same boat. Every 500 feet, it's going to take them 3 days, and then that afternoon, it's going to take them 2.5 days to do the steel wall. Then they pick up all the stuff, they move it over to the next 500-foot section. That'll be closed for 3 days. Obviously, if it rains, it'll be 4 days. If it rains one of those days, it'll be stretched out. But it's going full steam ahead, June 23rd. It's a couple weeks away before it starts. It's going to start in Maniloking and go all the way down through the end of Brick. It's covering Brick entirely. It's covering most of Maniloking. They have rocks in the other half. It's not going into Toms River. And the full access to Brick Beach 1 will be had all summer by our residents. Brick Beach 3, full access to the beach with the exception of the days when it's closed for the 500-foot. Half of the parking lot will be used for the staging site for the steel, and the other half of the parking lot will be open for beachgoers. And Bayside Park will be closed because that's where the trailers for the contractor are going to be located. Yep.
Anyone else from the public wish to be heard this evening? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Susan Dulong from Maniloking Road, and I just have one more question about the replenishment. Does the replenishment depend upon the easements being signed?
No, if somebody still wants to voluntarily sign an easement, they can, but otherwise it's eminent domain. The steel wall's going up June 23rd. It's scheduled to be finished in September, and then the Army Corps project starts right away, right afterwards to put in the sand.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else like to be heard this evening? Seeing none, I will close public comment and move on to council administration comments. And as always, we start with our business administrator.
I have nothing further to add, but thank you.
Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you. An update on Route 35. Our last council meeting. On the day before the council meeting, there was a big announcement by the state that they're going to stop all construction all the way up and down Route 35 from Point Pleasant all the way down to Seaside Park. So that Tuesday night, I relayed that information to all the residents. And then probably about 10 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, the very next day, the former commissioner, he was commissioner at the time, former commissioner now, Simpson, made an announcement that, well, it's gonna stop everywhere except for Brick. So now we're back to where we were. So on our Route 35, we're gonna have one lane open in each direction throughout the summer, but only, as everybody knows, we have 2 lanes on Route 35 in Brick, but we're only gonna have 1 lane this summer. So that was a roundabout. I wanted to come back and said, oh, the mayor said, all access, which I did, but based upon information, you can look it up. Monday, one thing, Wednesday, a different thing. So, so I just wanted to give you an update on that. I was able to go on a bus tour. Robert Wood Johnson Foundation did a mental health bus tour throughout the affected areas of Sandy. Started off in Toms River and basically took Route 35 up through Brick, up to the Visitation Relief Center, and then back down to Toms River. And just because there's so many people that are having mental health issues still because of Sandy, from kids who were affected because they had to be rescued that night, straight through to people who can't pay their mortgage or their bills, and they're not doing well mentally. So they wanted to have a bunch of different mental health professionals, and myself and our business administrator Joanne, we went down. They wanted to hear from us, from a township-wide perspective about what's going on. I have a bunch of different DARE graduations. The DARE program is a great program that our township students all go to, and it's split up into two different times a year. Back in January, I went through half of the town to their graduations. It's for fifth graders where they receive drug, alcohol, tobacco information, and they're all given the tools to make the right decisions throughout their life. Whether, and my always quote is always, whether that choice comes next week or next year or 5 years from now or sometime at the, when you're a junior and senior in high school. But the Officer Tara here does a great job with the DARE program, and half of the schools are coming up over the next few weeks. I'll be attending those graduations. They range from morning to noon to nights. So I'm going to be busy with those. Mayor's In Night, the next one is June 17th from 6 o'clock until the last person leaves. And please don't forget, it's the permit amnesty program's in effect. The actual Mayor's In Night is going to be downstairs in the building department, so everybody's going to be there so we can help run through as many permits. So if you did any work at all without a permit, Sandy related, not Sandy related, just put in a hot water heater without getting a permit because maybe you didn't know it, you needed one, come in, no fines, no penalties, apply for the permit, get your inspection, make sure your house is safe. An example, obviously the burning of the boardwalk down at Seaside last summer, that was some of the electrical work did not get inspected correctly, and there you saw. That was obviously a disaster. You don't want to see that happen to your home. You don't want to see it happen to your neighbor's home. So please, if you know anybody who did not get permits, have them come in anytime, any business day, or if they can't make it during the business day, at night, June 17th, 6 o'clock on. Wednesday, June 18th at 7 o'clock, our Cultural Art Series is hosting a concert at Traders Cove by Who's Johnny. June 26th at dusk, our Summerfest series kicks off with a drive-in movie, the 1971 version of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And I also want to remind you, July 8th, the Brick Garden Club from 10 o'clock a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. It's a day in the garden and tea, and there's refreshments. You get to tour gardens at people's houses throughout the town of Brick. There's 6 that's on the list this year. And then you go back to the Robert Anstett Cultural Arts Center. That's at 515 Herbertsville Road. And there's refreshments, there's gifts, there's raffles, there's plant sale, there's music available. And if you want tickets to that, they're available at the Jersey Paddler on Route 88, as well as Allen Farms, 511 Herbertsville Road, or you can call Mary LaPala at 732-920-8231. Once again, I just want to remind everybody to register for your email alerts from the town. Send an email to municipalupdate@twp.brick.nj.us with the word subscribe in the subject line, and you'll get an update, whether it's no more than one a day, but usually they're one every other day. Just letting you know what's going on around town. And lastly, just all the dads who are out there, have a happy Father's Day. That'll occur before our next council meeting. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Only one thing, once again, I'd like to thank Ms. Cole for her exceptional point-taking ability. She's getting very good at it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies?
Nothing, thank you.
Okay. Councilman Moore?
Thank you. A couple of quick things. To our essay winner, Ms. Newman, congratulations again, making Brick proud. So please keep up the good work. Folks, thank you for attending tonight's meeting. This weekend again, just a Father's Day, so please relax. Dads, chill out and relax and put your feet up. And again, please just drive safely, and also think twice. Weather's beautiful outside. Watch our kids in the street, and just watch our two-wheel motorcycles out there. Look twice. Other than that, thank you very much, and thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Yes, I'd like to congratulate Mayor Ducey. He was published in the new NJ Municipalities. It was actually the front page story, Should Red Light Cameras Get the Green Light? So his article was a point counterpoint. Mayor of Linden wanted the red light cameras, and of course Mayor Ducey got rid of ours. So his title was Removing Red Light Cameras Was an Easy Decision. So I want to congratulate him and thank him for removing them. I'm also excited about the Buy and Brick program to get that started. In our bill resolution, there was a bill to pay for part of the rebate cards that people will be getting to use at the different locations. So I'm very excited to see that started and get off the ground. Also, the beaches look great. I've been there a couple times this year. I was actually the first person there on Saturday morning. They were raked, they were beautiful. Our parks guys are doing a really, really great job on them. Also, Summerfest is coming up. As Mayor Ducey says, it's our 20th year, and it is what do you say, through the decades we're going? July 3rd is the Bronx Wanderers. It's the 50s and 50s. Then July 17th is Jimmy and the Parents doing the 60s and 70s. And then August 14th, we have a doubleheader with U2 Nation and Slippery When Wet, a Bon Jovi cover band, and they're doing the 80s and 90s and today. And of course, we have our new food vendors that we're gonna have, and fireworks after, and we're really, really looking forward to a great summer full of Summerfest. So, thank you all.
Councilwoman?
Thank you. I too would like to congratulate Caroline Newman. I was another council person who got to read her essay and the other essays that were submitted, and it was excellent. I'm sorry that I think she was a little bashful. She didn't want to read it for us tonight, and it's a shame because she really did a good job, so I congratulate her again. The mayor mentioned about the DARE graduations. That was something that I also got to participate in when I worked here in the town. There's been a lot in the media from time to time about whether DARE really is effective, but I was in a public safety meeting with our chief of police, and he happened to mention that there's been a separation between DARE New Jersey and DARE America, because DARE New Jersey wanted to pursue an evidence-based curriculum, which DARE America did not. So it kind of got me a little curious, and I went home that night and I got on the computer and did a little research, and it turns out that the curriculum that's being used for DARE in New Jersey, including the one here in Brick, is actually called Too Good for Drugs. And it is an evidence-based curriculum. It has been evaluated by the federal government, and it's on the National Registry of Evidence-Based Programs. So our children are getting good quality drug and alcohol prevention education here in Brick. Following up on that, every year before the senior prom, our high schools do a program called Project Crash. And it's a great program that they do for the students. It's an opportunity to bring the school and the community together. The staff coordinates with our first responders as reenacting a drug-related, an alcohol or drug-related vehicle crash with fatalities. And this year I was invited to narrate the one at Brick Memorial. And it's a very moving and powerful program, and hopefully the students get the message to stay safe. But I had a front row seat watching this scenario unfold, and I was absolutely mesmerized by the professionalism of our first responders, both the volunteer EMS and our paid EMS, obviously our police department, and our volunteer firefighters. And maybe it was because of where the podium was actually stationed. The firefighters were right in front of me while they were using the jaws of life to cut this car apart. And I found myself thinking, they're way too good at this. And part of the reason for this, and I'm sure Councilman Moore can attest, as a volunteer firefighter, they train constantly, thousands of hours that these men and women donate honing their skills. But I think the other part of it is that they do it in real life way too often, and that's very, very sad. I bring that up tonight for two reasons. One is that the tragedy that occurred in Union Beach this weekend, where our volunteer firefighter lost his life, it kind of really brings home that they're volunteers. And on a totally 100% volunteer basis, they put themselves at risk to help us for our safety. And the other reason why I bring it up is that graduation season is upon us. So I would urge everyone to please be safe on the roads. Our young people, I would urge them to not drink. Sometimes one night occurrence has a lifetime of consequences. Those who are of legal age, if you're drinking, don't get behind the wheel. Hire a cab, call a friend, do whatever you have to do. But please, everyone out there, be safe, and let's all celebrate the accomplishments of our young high school graduates and get everybody home safely. And to all of you, thanks for coming out tonight. Happy Father's Day to the dads, and get home safely. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman?
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I'd like to congratulate Carolyn Newman. Great job. Also wish all the dads happy Father's Day. Enjoy. And that's it for me.
Thank you.
I'm glad your comments were short because mine are long. First, I wanted to make some corrections to some statements I made at our last council meeting where we were recognizing our volunteers. I had indicated during my comments that our volunteers, including Marie Sadati, Renata Kupat, Sylvia Pizarras, and Tina Weingartner, and Anna Ferrier, had been filling in for 4 months. I was so misinformed. They've been filling in for 7 years, volunteering for 7 years. So I got a lot of phone calls after the meeting advising me that I was misinformed. So I just wanted to state that these are people, not 4 months, 7 years. And I also, 7, you heard it, 7 years. And Maria Sadati had been involved with the Mayor Senior Advisory Committee going all the way back to the year 2000. I was also advised of that, and that Sylvia Pizarras has been involved with the Mayor's Senior Advisory Committee and had been volunteering at senior services for years and years. I was advised of that as well. And Renata Kupat has helped the Brick Senior Services with the state health insurance program counseling. So they weren't given enough credit, so I wanted to just give them an official shout out that this is the corrected information. These people didn't just volunteer for 4 months, they did way more than that, and I apologize for any misstatements. I want to commend John Ducey, our mayor, for coming out for our annual first ever Harbor House Sleep Out to fight homelessness for youth. Mayor Ducey, Bob Moore, and also Andrea Zapsig joined the mayor of South Toms River, Joe Champagne, and Prosecutor Joe Coronado in helping us to put an end to homelessness for our youth. Harbor House takes in abused and neglected children. And the goal of the night was to sleep out one night to prevent a child from sleeping out. And I will say, and there's a picture to prove it, but it should not be circulated, that I actually did sleep outside without a blow dryer, without anything, outside. The night was incredibly successful. We raised over $25,000, and it was in large part due to the efforts of our mayor making an appearance. We have, between Monmouth and Ocean County, over 300 homeless youth. So I think it's important that that everyone understands that this is a problem that's not in distant towns. This is a local problem, and I want to thank the mayor for participating and bringing Jack and Deirdre, his wife and child, and Bob Moore for actually sleeping out and building a fort, is what it looked like, and Andrea Zapsig for coming out. I want to thank the seniors at Wedgwood for welcoming the mayor and myself for our Mayor's Night Out. I enjoyed myself immensely, both giving information and interacting with the residents. I did want to report that our Mayor's Senior Advisory Committee is going to remain the Mayor's Senior Advisory Committee. I was advised that we're straying a little too far from what the bylaws of that committee were intended to do. So the mayor has given permission to form a new committee in addition to the Mayor's Senior Advisory Committee, which is going to be more like a senior action committee where we'll do the bylaw reformation and other projects that I have in mind for our seniors. So, and all the people that I had to tell, no, we can't just put you on the mayor's senior advisory committee, can join this other committee. So friends, neighbors, family, feel free to contact me. We'll be probably starting that up in the fall. I also wanted to thank the Brick Township School internship program. My intern, Eunice, who I introduced everyone to a few meetings ago, she gave her final presentation for her school today. I want to encourage all the local businesses to register with the Brick Township Schools to volunteer to be a mentor for these internship programs. And I'd like to see something similar start for the seniors in our Brick schools, perhaps for council to have interns. So I got as much out of the program as I believe Eunice did. I did want to acknowledge Ms. Newman for her essay, which was an incredible essay. It's also a testament to our teachers at our Brick schools. I think this is the furthest that any student has gotten in the competition, the statewide competition. So she wrote one heck of an essay, and I wish there was a way to post it online. It would be great to have people be able to read what she wrote. It was incredible. I also wanted to acknowledge the recent slew of arrests, drug-related arrests that our Brick police have made. If you look at the local news, there have been just a myriad of drug-related arrests. They are taking these guys down and taking no prisoners, and I wanted to give a special congratulations to our police force and to our chief, making a really strong effort to target the crime and the drug-related crime that's gone on in our community. So it is being addressed vehemently by our police force, and I wanted to acknowledge them for that. Last, I wanted to just, I have to wish my father, Joe Ponferrero, happy Father's Day, and I'm sorry I wasn't available to see you today when you stopped in all the way from North Jersey to see me, but I was preparing for the council meeting, and I do love you. Have a great night, and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
That's it?
That's it.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you, Council President. I'd just like to say we do a shared service with the MUA with the electric. I think that's working out very well with the township. The prices are down. They're coming in. Last month it was like $1,200 for doing small electrical work around here, getting things done. Hopefully we can use them on little larger projects as we go along, because they do have 5 electricians there. Mayor's Night In is the 17th. I'd like to thank the mayor for not only that, but give an amnesty to everybody in the township to file for their permits. Because that is, even if you weren't affected by Storm Sandy, you had a hot water heater put in, just like the mayor said, you can come down and get your permit and have it inspected with no fines or anything. And I believe that the mayor said the building department will be open that night, and everybody's supposed to stay until everybody gets served. So if anybody has to come down, you come down. I'd like to congratulate new commissioners to the MUA and the Housing Authority. And Caroline Newman for her essay. She did really well on it. Parents should be proud of her. Father's Day is Sunday. Everybody's supposed to relax. That's what I'm doing that day. I did go down and purchase beach badges. I did do that and get my car pass. And I'm going to use the brick beaches a little more than I usually do. I think last year I used them. They were really nice. So as Councilwoman Poncinero went down there, and I'm ready to use them again. I'd just like to say one more thing is a happy birthday to my wife. Her birthday's coming up. Thank you.
Council President, real briefly, yes. I know we've all spoken about Caroline, but I saw Caroline Newman. I want to mention that she's the granddaughter of our former mayor, Dan Newman, of our town, but I know nobody said that, and I meant to say it when I was up there earlier, and I forgot. Thank you.
Thank you. While her relatives have nothing to do with why we chose her for the essay, it was an excellent essay. It was just lovely, and I urge her to send it into our local media, and hopefully they can print it if possible, because it should be something that every resident reads. it made me excited to be a resident in Brick to read this essay. So hopefully she can get that posted up on our website and through our local media. We should reach out to her for that. I do want to thank and congratulate our Sustainable Brick Committee. You've heard me talk about it a few times. We had these resolutions on this evening. They put on the Green Fair every year. And the people in this committee, you know, they are really dedicated to making Brick better. And they're achieving their goals. And one of our goals was to get a bronze classification in the Sustainable New Jersey realm. And we uploaded all of our points last Friday, and it looks like it is something that we will be able to get, which is really fantastic for our town because that brings in a whole nother set of grant opportunities to improve our sidewalks, our walkways, our township buildings. Just the possibilities are endless of what we can do as we continue to get these classifications. So I did want to say thank you to them. Thank you, because you really are making Brick a better place to live with every action that you take. I do want to say Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there and my husband. You're a really great dad, Ed. Keep going. And our next meeting is June 24th, and I hope that everyone will be able to come out for that meeting as well. Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Second. So moved. Oh, everyone in favor? Yes, aye.